Hello and welcome to Keeping It Real. I'm David Grossman. It's great to be here on All Talk TV at the kiosk. I'll remind you, of course, our studio is here at Dufferin & Steeles. We have some seating. You're always welcome to join us in person. We enjoy having a live audience. Just let us know if you're coming and we'll make sure we have some seating set up for you, as well as some hot coffee from Starbucks. Am I allowed to say that? Okay. Anyway, we have with us today a fantastic array of guests. I'm really very, very excited. Some amazing talent in the room. I'm going to start off. We have with us Gabrielle Jeans. She is President and CEO of E2000 Training Institute and Webtech Dezine, Inc. This is a lady who has dedicated her life to helping real estate agents become more effective, more productive. She's designed online marketing tools, website tools, and now is busy with the question that most of us are up at nights, including me: email marketing, search engine optimization, social media marketing, how to get found on the web. That's one of the things we're going to talk about today with Gabrielle. Also today we have Chris Karam, incredible guy. I was at a company event they had the other day, SafeBridge Financial Group. This is mortgage-centered financial planning. We're going to find out what that is all about. We also have Emil Kyriakos. He's an award-winning real estate investor. He helps people find amazing opportunities. He's doing it in Toronto, but here we're also going to talk to him, especially about some opportunities in the United States. There are some amazing opportunities out there. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to find out what service Emil offers to help people go down, find the right property, meet all the right people, and make things happen. But first, let's talk with Gabrielle. Gabrielle, thanks so much for joining us here in the studio. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your phone call. The internet is wonderful, and this is a great way to reach out to realtors.
I want to just tell people a little bit about your career, because I think this deserves mention. You were, in 1975, yourself, a $1 million producer.
Yes, and real estate prices were a whole lot different in 1975.
Right. So that is a lot of real estate.
It was a lot of real estate back then.
You became a manager at Cimerman Real Estate, helped the company grow to 10 offices.
I did.
Later, in 1983, you started your own company called Future One, which you expanded to 105 agents.
That's right.
And then you became VP and Chief Operating Officer at Homelife, growing the company to 600 offices.
Yes, helping him expand in the United States, actually.
That is no small feat.
No, it wasn't, but we worked hard, went to the United States in the 90s, and he started acquiring real estate companies, and my job was going in and introducing the system to these new companies, and then, of course, selling franchises and training and support. It was exciting times.
That is really awesome. 600 offices.
Yeah, and about 9,000 salespeople.
Amazing.
It was big.
Amazing. So now you have a few different products and you do training to help realtors get that edge. And one of the things you've said was that if you're not within the top 5% on Google rankings, you may as well, I could be paraphrasing, but you may as well not even be there, because nobody's going to find you.
That's right.
So,
and it's getting harder and harder and harder. I started studying search engine optimization and internet marketing per se. And trust me, I say this to real estate people, I'm not a techie. I'm a salesperson. I'm a realtor first and foremost. And so if I can learn this, I say this as a vote of confidence, if you will, to real estate people. Anybody can learn it, because I really am not a techie person. But I started learning it about 12 to 13 years ago. When I was in the United States, I was given the opportunity to have to work with our office. About 18 years ago, they said, help us get someone to build us a website. And so that's where my interest started, was about in the mid-90s when I was in California with the franchise company.
Yes.
And then when I came back to Canada in April of 2000, I moved back here, I thought education has always been a passion of mine. I love to train real estate people. Give me a microphone and give me a room full of realtors and let me work, you know, because I really love to do that. It's my first passion. I didn't want to train the traditional model of real estate anymore, the cold calling, the door knocking. You know, I just thought, you know, the internet has become so important, and that was 13 years ago. Imagine today now, of course, that I thought I need to learn about this, because what I really want to do is teach real estate agents how to be able to farm, if you will, instead of the traditional ways online. And so I started taking courses, flew all over the place, spent a fortune because the courses are not inexpensive.
Right.
And started learning and learning and learning. And we developed our own product. I started it in 2001. We built a website product for real estate people, what's basically called a content management system.
Right.
It's not just a basic HTML site, it's actually a contact management system and a content management system. So it's all of their tools are built into this, their blog, their e-cards, their follow-up systems, their service reports, their contact management system is all built into this. We've grown it to thousands of users across the country, even around the United States, and some international, but mostly, of course, right here in the GTA. And I'm out there every day working with real estate people. My goal is, I don't want to just sell you a website. I say to realtors, you need to, I want to sell you an internet business. And when you have a website, you need to understand the importance of being able to get found online.
Right.
And that is getting harder and harder and more expensive every day.
Right.
And it's not getting easier, it's getting harder to get on page one.
So it does start with the website, I know,
Yes, it
because if you do all this work to drive people to your site and you can't convert them, then it's all for nothing. So it starts with the website, and I know you have a great product that you've been working on for a long time there. But then when we're talking about search engine optimization, we're talking about getting found, and I know you were just telling me that you were just on a 3-day course that you just, so it's
called Advanced Search Engine Marketing Strategies.
So you offer training courses on this?
I do. The training courses that I offer are not as advanced as the one that I just finished. I usually say to real estate people, the most important thing, there's a certain level of knowledge that you need to have. I'm not trying to teach these people to become search engine optimization people. I'm just trying to teach them how to be able to understand that there are certain things you need to do with your website, and the most important, of course, the 3 magic words when it comes to Google and ranking, meaning getting found on page 1, is content, content, content. It's the single most important part. The second most important is theme. In other words, theming your website. Real estate is a broad subject.
Yes.
And so to have a real estate person say, well, I'm licensed in the province of Ontario and I sell real estate all over, with Google that isn't good. You know, what you really have to do is, I sell, example, luxury condos in downtown Toronto.
Okay.
And so what you want to do now is, the most important thing is build that website so that it has the best content when it comes to buying a luxury condo in downtown Toronto.
Right.
So the magic word with Google and ranking is theming your site so that it's very targeted to exactly the group of clients that you're interested in finding listings for and buyers for. So the key there is theme. And then, of course, what you want to do now is, over time, is find really great content. And keeping in mind that you need to be adding content on a regular basis. The minute your website is up, it's old.
Right.
If you follow what I mean. It's like buying a car. You drive it off the lot and it's already depreciated $3,000.
Right.
A website is the very same. You know, the minute a website is uploaded to the internet, it's old, and you got to keep refreshing it with new information to keep people coming back.
And does it have to be unique content?
Yes, it does have to be unique. Very important that the content is unique. Example, I say to salespeople, look at it from this point of view. Google is extremely serious on who they give ranking to on page 1. When it's organic, remember there's 2 types of Google placement. One is your pay-per-click and the other is organic. Organic is the natural search. Organic is on the left under the paid section, typically at the top 3, 4. The right-hand side, as we know, is also pay-per-click. 90% of the world clicks on the left and clicks in the organic. Only 10% click on the pay-per-click section. Right. That's a lot of traffic. Just to give you an idea, in 1 month, going back not that long ago, 165,000 times the keyword phrase Toronto real estate was entered into Google. And that's in 1 month. More than Chicago, more than Miami, more than some of these major cities in the United States. Actually, Toronto was searched in Google more times. Not more than New York City. New York City was about 500,000 times. Right. In 1 month. 85% of the people who search in Google. When you look at the difference between other search engines like Yahoo and Bing and Google, there's no comparison. So the most important search engine is Google. That's the one you want to get ranked in. That's the most important. And what you have to understand is they are very serious about who they give ranking to organically. And as a result, there's trillions and trillions and trillions of pages of content on the internet. One of the biggest concerns that Google has, and the first thing that's going to get you in trouble, is duplicate content. Right. Taking content, even with copyright permission, if I had permission to take your content from your website and post it on my website, and the majority of my content is taken from other websites, even with copyright permission, Google doesn't want that. You will never get ranked with websites with duplicate content. So it has to be fresh content, it has to be your content, and it has to be written to please the consumer. In other words, Google is not looking for you to write content and as you're writing it, think search results, search results, search results. What they want you thinking about is the consumer. Okay. They want you writing content for the buyer of real estate that you specialize in, for the seller of real estate that you specialize in. They want you to put the kind of content that a consumer would be interested in. And that is the most important thing. And of course, if you constantly keep your content fresh. I say post 3 times a week with some fresh, interesting content about what's happening to real estate in the area that you specialize in. Google will reward you for that. And what I teach in these courses is not only how to be able to write the content, but how to be able to write it so when these spiders come in, they're searching for certain keyword phrases in a certain location within the content. So I teach them how to strategically place the keyword phrases. For example, 1 keyword phrase per page, not more. You have to change. You can't have Toronto homes, Toronto homes, Toronto homes too often. So you have to change it. Toronto homes, Toronto real estate, Toronto townhouses, Toronto condos. So you have to be concerned about not repeating the certain keyword phrases too often. So there's certain strategies and techniques.
If you have a niche, like you were saying before, you want to specialize in a certain area. So if luxury condos are your thing, do you want to have that so that it's a theme, it's a common theme in many of your posts?
Yes.
That's important?
Yes. Now, it doesn't have to all be that, but I say the more you theme your site, taking the example again of the luxury condos in downtown Toronto, the content would be things like vacancy rates, comparing condo prices in the city of Toronto to Chicago and New York and so on. What's the difference between putting an offer in on a condominium versus a residential home? What to look for when buying a condo? Owner-occupied versus tenanted, all of these kinds of things that people who are looking to buy a condominium, information that they should think about. That's the kind of website now that's targeted, again, to your specific theme, your specific area of specialization or expertise. And Google will really reward you if your content on your website is geared towards that theme. And as I say, keeping in mind, it's not complicated. It's sort of a little checklist of, say, a dozen things. And when they take my course, I show them, here's how you get the content. And now that you've got the content, let's go in and optimize it for the bots. And we teach them a dozen little things to do. And once you've done it a couple times, you know, really it's not that complicated.
Do they have to write it themselves? Can they?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, real estate years ago, I got into the business in 1973, was all about how well you could talk.
Right.
It's still about, you know, face-to-face communication with customers, but really more important than today, than talking, is how well you can write.
Right.
Because people are finding you through your written words more than the spoken word.
Right.
They're finding your blog. It's very important, I say to real estate agents, that you need a blog. The reason you need a blog is because a blog, as we know, is, you know, constantly being refreshed with new content, usually 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. Google loves blogs because of the new content. And so they're finding you because of the written word more than the spoken. So it's a good question about writing content. No, because, you know, writing is an art form. It's like, you know, singing or painting. Not everybody can write. There's a lot of great professional writers that make, you know, that make a living at writing, that can be outsourced writing too for very, very affordable rates and fees.
Right.
I can get an article of 300 to 500 words written for me for as little as $25. And
Wow.
it's knowing where to go. And we, of course, give them guidance on where to go, and knowing how to make sure that the person who's writing the content is writing it with the flair of real estate, being Canadian real estate, because some of these are from other countries, they're journalists. But you can find professional writers to help you with writing, and then you go in and edit it to make it more you.
Right.
But you don't have to write content yourself. You can find professionals to do that.
Like we were talking about earlier, video is another way. If people are more comfortable talking,
Yes.
it's a way, and Google likes video.
Yes, what you're doing right here, very important. As a matter of fact, I say to real estate people all the time, they ask me about social media and the importance of social media. It's extremely important because Google looks at social media and how many other people are linking to you and how many other people are connecting to you on valuing the importance of what your website is all about. The more other people think your website is important, the more Google looks at you and say, wow, you know, she's got thousands or he's got thousands and thousands of people connecting to them. They must be an important person. And so the single most important social media is YouTube.
Right.
As we know, YouTube is owned by Google, and it's the #2 search engine in the world. Google's #1. YouTube is #2.
Right.
And so I say, if you're going to choose any social media platform right now, make sure YouTube is your first one. And people today, when they come to a website, you know, websites used to be the brochure,
Right.
basically. Today, Web 2, if you will, is not about the brochure anymore. It's about the visual. And it's about the auditory. So people like to come to a website and be able to watch rather than read. People don't want to read much on the web, and I think most people who are on the web a lot know that. So having video on your website is going to make you rank higher. It's going to make clients come back to your website so long as your content is interesting and a little bit entertaining.
Sure.
Because the web is about entertainment as well as information.
Right.
And so don't be afraid to be, you know, a little entertaining in a good way, because that'll go far too.
Right. Well, listen, the way I figure real estate agents are spend most of their day talking.
Yes.
So if they're not terribly fond of sitting down to write, you know, not all of them might have the skills or the wherewithal. Another option is to do some kind of video.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. And putting up, you know, when you get a new listing, doing a little video tour of your property, or every time, you know, Market Watch in the Toronto market, the Toronto Real Estate Board puts Market Watch out every month. And you can take your area that you specialize in, example, the luxury condos in downtown Toronto, and what I can do now is I can look at Market Watch, and I can look at, you know, average days on market and, you know, list price to sale price ratios, and I can take some of the data, that extremely valuable data that the consumer wants to know. Whether a person wants to buy or sell their home, or a home or property, everybody who owns real estate wants to know what's happening to my real estate. Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it staying the same? What's happening to the price of real estate? It is the single most important subject out there, especially on the web. It's in the top 5 of most search for things is
Right.
real estate.
Right.
So video is really great.
Yeah. Well, Gabrielle, it was really great speaking with you.
Thank you.
I mean, we barely touched on so
Yes.
many of the stuff, but this was a really good start talking about the very important subject of search engine optimization. Hopefully we can have you back sometime to talk further about things like social media marketing
Would love that.
and email marketing.
Yes.
That would be really great. Thank you very much for being here. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Chris Karam from SafeBridge Financial. We're going to learn what is mortgage-based financial planning. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Thank you.